Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that her free wedding is unrealistic? I, 24F, am a member of a friend group in which one member, we'll call her Coral, 23F, is getting married. She announced her engagement to her fiancé, 25M, a few weeks ago, and we were all happy for her. Over the weekend, though, she shared more specific plans for the wedding, and that's where things have kind of gone off the rails. She said she's been seeing a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram showing how to plan free weddings where the couple spends $0, aside from the marriage certificate fee, I guess. At first, I thought she meant a city hall wedding, which would be completely fine. But then she got into the details and her expectations for the ceremony. She's going to try to find someone with a large outdoor space to use, not formally a wedding venue, who will donate their area in support of love. She's going to have all of her guests bring a potluck, with very specific assignments. She will have a friend officiate, a friend do photography, a friend do the save the dates and invitations, her family do the flowers, etc. This includes some harder to swing, in my opinion, things like getting a large tent, decorations, wedding favors, speakers, a band, and so on. I'm not sure what her plan was for a dress. What's more, Coral and her fiancé really aren't poor, from what I can tell. She works as an accountant at a big company, and her fiancé does software sales. Plus, his parents are loaded. It sounds like they just want to do the free wedding thing for the sake of it. That would be okay, but she is just shifting all of the costs onto other people, some of whom are probably less well off. She told me that she wants me to make the cake and then sent me some pictures for inspiration. The cakes were ridiculously elaborate. We're talking multi-tier, fondant flowers, gold leaf, and one even had a hand-painted watercolor design. I'm not a professional baker, I just like to bake cookies and brownies sometimes. I told her those cakes would probably take me days to make, and they wouldn't come out anywhere near as good. She kind of laughed that off and said, "Oh, it's not about it being perfect, it's just about everyone pitching in. It'll be fun." I told her that, fun or not, what she was describing was basically her friends and family subsidizing her wedding with time, money, and labor, and that it was kind of unfair to expect people to spend so much on her free wedding. Otherwise, she was expecting everyone to show up to a lackluster event and just pretend it was amazing. It felt like a group project that none of us wanted to do because we already graduated and moved on from all that, so we don't need the credit. She does graduate a year later than the rest of us. I said that if she wants a free wedding, she should probably just elope or go to City Hall, because this isn't really free, it's just free for her. I might have been a bit more forceful in my wording, but I didn't swear or call her names or anything like that. She got super quiet and just looked at me for a minute or so, then left, with another one of our friends driving her home. Later that night, I got a text from that friend saying I had really hurt Coral's feelings and that, even if the plans were a bit unrealistic, I should have just let Coral come to that conclusion on her own. Coral then messaged me just saying, "Sorry, don't worry about the cake," with no more context. I am feeling pretty bad now, especially since Coral was so happy and excited, and she never really said anything mean to me. Perhaps I should have just gone along with the cake, since she said she wouldn't be mad if it turned out badly, but I am worried that her wedding would not have been what she wanted. I was also frustrated about the cake request. Edit, honestly, I feel a bit bad now. Coral really is a sweet person who is just a bit naive. I feel like a lot of people in the comments are tearing her up more than she deserves. She has always been the baby of the group, and I just got frustrated and ranted in this case. I don't know what the fiancé thinks about all of this. Update 1, hi there. My last post sort of blew up. I really didn't think so many people would be that interested in my silly friend group drama. Short recap, my friend Coral announced she was going to have a free wedding, with all of her friends playing roles to volunteer a nice venue, tent, food, photography, band, cake, my role, etc. It sounded okay at first, but her expectations seemed unrealistically lavish, and I told her that, in stronger wording, and she got upset. After reading the comments, I honestly began to feel bad for Coral. She really is a kind-hearted person, but a lot of people interpreted her as an insane, entitled bridezilla. That's really not the case. I decided I was going to make the cake, and I sent her an apology text, to which I didn't get any reply. That was making me really anxious. I still didn't think that Coral's requests were that reasonable and wasn't expecting the wedding to fully go to her plans, but that's not for me to worry about. Finally, I got a message from Coral's fiancé, who we'll call Basil, asking to meet up. I said yes. My expectation going into this was that Basil would tell me how much I hurt Coral's feelings, and I was going to reiterate my apology and share some research and planning I had done on the cake. That's not how it went, though. As it turns out, the whole free wedding thing was Basil's idea. That's not the impression I got before. Basil didn't at first explain why he wanted to do it, but when pressed, It sounds like it so he could spend the money that he and Coral had been saving up for their wedding on something else, a boat, a Catalina 27, apparently. Very useful and practical thing to have when you are living in the city, especially if your fiancé gets seasick. We did one of those river cruise things a while back and she had a bad time. Basil says he'll help her get over that and that sailboats are different. Anyway, after my whole outburst before, Coral has apparently been having second thoughts about the free wedding thing. Basil asked me to talk to her, apologize, and tell her that it isn't a bad idea after all. He basically said I owe it to him to help clean up the mess I caused. I don't feel great about that, though. I don't want to drive a wedge between Coral and Basil, but telling her I think it's a good idea after all feels like lying. Actively advocating for a potential train wreck is a further line for me than just agreeing to play my assigned, voluntold Baker role. Moreover, this was my first real conversation with Basil, and I have to say I'm not totally convinced he's a great person. I don't know if he has exactly manipulated her into going along with this, but it kind of feels that way. So what do I do? It's been a little while now since I talked to Basil, so I really do need to do something, whether that's what Basil asked or further involving myself in drama by telling Coral that I don't think the wedding, or the entire marriage, is a good idea. Final update. Hi again. I'm finally posting this update because a few people have asked what's going on with this whole situation. I was finally able to get in touch with Coral and talk to her one-on-one. The first thing I did was just ask her how she's doing. Apparently, not very well. She's now fully aware that the whole free wedding thing really was her fiancé's idea. He had mentioned the boat in passing as something he wanted to save up for, but hadn't framed it directly as the thing he really wanted to spend the wedding money on, as he did when he told me about it. Maybe he thought that would make me think he's cool or something, or that having a specific goal in mind would make me more likely to support the idea. Anyway, it's not just the wedding planning that has made Coral upset. Apparently, Basil, who is into boats, I guess, has been spending more and more time at the marina that's 78 minutes away. Coral quoted that exact number lots of times. He doesn't even spend that much time out on the water, he just hangs out with everyone there and has been spending less and less time at home. He also keeps talking about Grace, who, as had to be explained to me, is a boat rather than a woman, fortunately. Coral said she's been invited to the club a few times but has never really felt like she was part of it. When she brought that up to Basil, he said he also feels that way because they don't own their own boat. I don't think it's the same at all. And even if Grace isn't a person, Coral is feeling jealous. Last night, Coral brought up the wedding plans with Basil again and said she thinks she wants to wait and sort some stuff out first. Basil didn't get angry or anything and said he understands, good. But he also asked if that meant they could spend some of their wedding savings, since they would have more time to save up again, bad. That broke Coral, which might be why she finally agreed to meet me. I know it makes me kind of a jerk, but to be entirely honest, I'm just glad that Coral is talking to me again. I told her to break up with Basil. She's thinking about it, but I'm scared she won't. I kind of want to offer to do it for her, but that would be silly.